Hello and welcome to ET Edge Insights interview series. I am Tanmay Mitra, the editor. In this exclusive series, we speak to thought leaders, industry experts about different trends in the industry, thought leadership, and much more. Today we have with us Mr. Pankaj Garg. He is the Group CEO and MD of Medreich. Pankaj, thank you for taking the time out and speaking to ET Edge Insights.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Let me begin by asking you, when we talk about environmental strategies that organizations are implementing, when you assess carbon footprints or the strategy to reduce carbon footprints with regards to your supply chain management, what is the strategy you've put in place?
Medreich, Meiji being into the food and pharmaceutical business, we have a long-term sustainability goals, which is healthier lives, thriving communities, and caring for Earth.
Right.
And with a common theme of sustainable supply chain. So that's the sort of core sustainable, long-term goals we have as an organization.
Right.
Now, when we look at the carbon footprint, I think we assess our carbon footprints right from end to end, from the sourcing of raw material to the supply of products to the patients. Okay, that's the supply chain we look at end to end. And if we see in the supply chain, practically we see that more than 80% of the carbon footprint, it comes through the electricity generation, heat generation in the processes, transportation and manufacturing. So that's sort of we see that the main, I would say, the core reasons of the carbon footprint which sort of emerge during the entire supply chain process, in the industry which we are in. Most of the industry it's like this, and for us also as a pharmaceutical industry, it is something like this.
Right.
And we sort of very deeply evaluate these carbon footprint, and then we take very effective steps to see that how we reduce our carbon footprint, how we can become more sort of sustainable, and how we can adopt more sustainable practices which is more environment friendly in our business. That's how we go about it.
Right. We've noticed that whenever there's a new strategy, or especially when we talk about sustainable practices with regards to sustainability, the involvement of entire organization and the entire stakeholders are crucial. So how do you foster this culture of getting into this sustainable mode within your organization? Is there any particular incentives you have put in place to ensure that people abide by this strategy?
Yeah, sure. As you rightly said, that without team involvement, not only the leadership, I think from top to bottom, the entire team involvement, we can't work on any sustainability projects. Not only the sustainability projects, even any initiatives we have to take in the organization, that is not possible without involving all the team members of the organization. First, what we do is basically we bring in sort of more awareness through multiple training programs for our employees that why the more environmental friendly practices, not only in the organization, even in our personal lives are also very critical and important. So that's how first level of awareness or sensitization happens through the training programs. And then on an annual basis, we sort of go through an idea generation program across all the function and capabilities in the company to see that what all kind of sustainability projects we can take. And then those projects are being identified, and then with a sort of time bound manner, those get implemented across the organization. That's how we go about it. And as far as the motivation and incentivizing team members, what generally we look at is at the specific great sustainability ideas and all that get recognized across the organization, where they are being sort of given the appreciation certificates and all that. And then we have a quarterly sort of magazine which we roll out across the organization, and which goes to a parent company in Japan also. So there then specific reference and all that comes for those employees who have really sort of contributed to the sustainability projects to move on.
Right. We have seen that the role of technology has had a huge impact on every sector and every strategy we put in place. So when it comes to sustainable practices or sustainability in an organization, how do you keep up with the latest trends or technology that you have to implement or put in place for a efficiency control?
See, like if we talk about the sustainability projects, as we speak right now, more than 60% of power which we consume in the organization is through the renewable energy source. So we are looking at that how we can reach to almost 80 to 90% within the next 2 to 3 years. So we are taking very effective steps for that. Apart from that, we have taken multiple measures, like we are using LPG in place of diesel for the heat sort of process generation and all those things. Then we have taken multiple steps in terms of reducing the paper consumption across the organization, where instead of the paper batch manufacturing records, which are very critical in our pharmaceutical industry, we have gone for the electronic batch manufacturing records. We see that how we employ more energy efficient, whether it is motors or whether it is in the design stage of the manufacturing plant also. We see that how we can have a very energy efficient and effective systems in place. So that's how we go about it.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of environmental regulations that keep changing. So how do you keep updated with the latest environmental regulations and practices?
Right. See, to start with, we have a dedicated EHS department in the company, where the corporate EHS head, and then in all our manufacturing sites, we have EHS managers who sort of take care of the EHS programs. Though it is not their only responsibility, it is the responsibility of entire organization. First, we see that we are 100% complying with the law of the land in terms of the environmental regulations which are in place. Apart from that, we being fundamentally B2B pharmaceutical exporters, where we export products to the global pharmaceutical multinational companies. So they also conduct EHS audits on a periodic basis in our manufacturing sites. So through that also we sort of further get updated on certain new changes and regulations which sort of are coming in for the environment related activities. Apart from that, we as a Medreich Meiji group, we are sort of committed to the UN Sustainability Development Goals, and we work very closely with the sustainability department in our parent company in Japan also to keep ourselves updated. And apart from this, through various seminars, conferences on the environment related matters, through that we keep ourselves updated. So there is a very robust compliance framework is in place in the organization. To meet the law of the land requirement is at the very basic level, but we are not looking at that very basic level. We are looking at environment friendly initiatives or more eco-friendly practices across the organization in far more I would say holistic way, so which can make a meaningful impact to the organization and to the society at large.
Right. One last question. The growth story of India, as we all are seeing globally, it's been a talked about thing. How do you see the future of pharmaceutical industry in India?
See, when we talk about pharmaceutical industry, I think it's very complex and vast, sector, which encompasses various activities like development of new medicines, manufacturing, and the distribution of products. Okay. And looking at the more prevalence of acute and chronic diseases among the wider population, then aging people in the societies, which is happening globally, plus the better healthcare access in the emerging countries. So that way, the outlook for the Indian and global pharmaceutical industry is very, very strong. And I see that on an overall basis, whether it is Indian pharmaceutical industry or a global pharmaceutical industry is committed to make the people's life healthier and help them to live longer and better. So that sort of, I think, vision is very much there. And as far as Indian industry is concerned, I see the future of the Indian industry is pretty strong and bright, and where Indian industry has also taken multiple steps in terms of innovation, in terms of optimization of cost, in terms of meeting the sort of patient needs, in terms of adopting the new technologies, and in terms of, I would say, sort of working on certain initiatives ahead of the pharmaceutical trends. So that's how I see that the future of Indian pharmaceutical industry is quite strong.
Pankaj, on that note, thank you very much for your insightful thoughts. I wish you all the best, and I hope the future is bright and strong for Medreich. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much.